without what should be the hold of the law. We are back. Now, in this particular segment, we will discuss what's going on in Los Angeles right now. Cause about me being on the West Coast, me, going back and forth from LA, I feel like I should be the one to deliver this. Cause it's kind of sort of being carried or covered in the news, but real low key. And we will also talk about Trump potentially being arrested, right? Today, right, on Tuesday, because we're in Tuesday now, so today. So let's get to the school shutdowns first, right? And I'm going to read directly from the article, right? So that we know exactly what's going on. So it says Los Angeles schools to shut down after workers vow to strike. The nation's second largest school district will cancel classes starting on Tuesday, while thousands of employees, pressed demands for higher pay. It says tens of thousands of Los Angeles school employees will begin a 3-day strike starting on Tuesday, forcing hundreds of campuses to close and canceling classes for 422,000 students. All right. So what's going on here is most of these workers that work for the school districts, they still pretty much make minimum wage. Just a little bit over, just a tad bit over minimum wage. And because we've been dealing with so much inflation, right? Money has became less and less valuable. Imagine living in a place like LA and making minimum wage. And we know how expensive it is to live in LA. So what's going on now is what they want to do, they want to raise the pay rates by at least 2 to 3% or $2 to $3, right? So if you're making $8, they want you to make at least $11, right? They want to bring up the pay wage up a couple dollars, right? So basically, they have gotten to a point where it's just the school system is becoming unsustainable. And this is affecting 500,000 students. Now you like, yo, how the fuck did it ever get to this point? Because all of these people are involved. So it's not just teachers. It's also bus drivers. It's also the people that work in the cafeterias. It's also all of the volunteers. So like everybody has assembled and everybody's walking out on Tuesday and they will strike for 3 days. And the second largest school system, right? Now, what is this collapse of the school system, right? Because we know we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Also happening in California is the tech industry is going through massive layoffs. For those who don't know about that, Silicon Valley, over 200,000 jobs have been deleted since last year. So 2022 going on to 2023, at least 200,000 people have lost their jobs, right? So that includes Twitter, that includes Facebook, right? That includes various countries, like, not countries, various companies that I don't even know about, right? So the total in the tech sector, 200 people, 200,000 people have lost their jobs. So we have 200 techs who have lost their jobs. Now the whole school district is going on strike. What is really going on here in California, right? California is supposed to be one of the richest states in America. California is supposed to be rolling in cash, right? But for some reason, they still can't find a way to pay their teachers. And the pressure is just so deep that they were saying, like, a lot of people are only making 25K a year. They're making under $30,000 a year. And living in a place like California and you're making under 30,000, your quality of life is going to be hellish just because of the location you're in. Now, if you were somewhere else, it may be different, but we're talking about California. So we know California is way more expensive. Everything will cost more. So again, you would think, well, California generates so much money. Why is it such a problem paying people a little bit more because it's more expensive to be there? It kind of makes sense. But however, you still have many, 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 many people making minimum wage and living in a place like California, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's San Francisco, so on and so forth, right? That's why they've been trying to raise up the minimum wage to from $8 or $7 to $15, right? They've been talking about this for years now, right? But for whatever reason, they keep getting denied. They keep getting denied. Like some companies are, paying the $15 an hour, but a lot of them are not, especially again, like the schools. So just imagine the amount of stress that people have to endure with, like, okay, we can't even teach your kids. Our personal lives are so hellish that we literally don't have not even the energy, we don't even have the resources to teach the children to the point where almost 500,000 students are about to go 72 hours with no school. And we know, even this article cites that majority of these students come from low income households. So a lot of these students are dependent on those breakfasts and those lunches. So when not the students, the teachers don't have the ability to teach the children, then what comes next. What comes next is because the parents have to work, right? You're not going to be able to pay your rent or your mortgage if you don't go to work. And majority of the parents don't have jobs that allow you to work from home. Okay? So majority of the parents have to get up and commute to work. They have to go to a location to work. So this is why, majority of the people, their schedule revolves around their children, right? So they may take their children to school. They may work in between hours, or they have their system set up. So this is completely interrupting the system because if there are nobody to watch the children, how are the parents going to work? If the parents don't go to work, how is the city going to function? If there is no daycares, right? There's no daycares, there's no schools. So we see how this can spiral, and this is why they're going on strike. Because 3 days of schools not being open, because again, schools generate so much money. This is why it really doesn't make any sense. The amount of money that is generated from these college campuses, from these schools, are absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that they are still paying their workers minimum wage and they're making ridiculous amounts of money, we know it's just strictly greed. They strictly do not want to give the resources to the people that really need it, which are the teachers and also the workers, the whole sector of schooling. When you can get this many people to strike, meaning it's not just one school, it's not just two schools, it's the whole fucking school system. So imagine how much shit had to happen in order for them to get to a point where they're shutting down damn near every single school because the children can't even get to school. There are no bus drivers. So how are the children even going to get to school? A lot of these students live too far to walk to school. Every parent doesn't have a vehicle. So every parent, they have to go to work, right? So this puts a major wrench. Not because they care about the people, because now the schools cannot generate the money that they're used to making. And again, that's why they're going on strike. 3 days of schools not being open, you could say, can amount to millions of dollars just not being made. So they are losing millions of dollars instead of just paying this money to the teachers, which they could have been doing. They could have been being fair. But again, it just goes to show that we want people to care about the children, right? We say that the babies are the greatest. We say that we care about the future of the children because they're going to be the future leaders, right? But time after time, we're proving that that's not the case here. Because when the teachers ask for a raise, not because they're being greedy, just because they can't even sustain a normal life. So they're being reasonable in their requests. It's not something that's just impossible. They're not asking for impossible figures. They're trying to be as reasonable, as fair as possible. But the school system is like, fuck y'all. Or y'all want to go on strike for 3 days? Fuck it then. Just go on strike. This is the mentality of the system. Because again, the system does not care about your emotions. The system does not care about your feelings. The system doesn't care to be fair. The system only cares about getting over. And that's what they show, right? And this is why Los Angeles is not just Los Angeles, the West Coast is crumbling right before our eyes. Again, if you go to the North California, Silicon Valley, that's we know what just happened with the banks, right? The Silicon Valley banks and how they had to get bailed out. So on the north side, we got all these issues with these banks and these startups. Then when we go to the south side and get to Los Angeles, now the whole school system is out of whack. But again, it's not a lack of money. The money is there. They just refuse to put the resources in the hands of the people because they want to keep the people, again, just scraping and just fighting for scraps and fighting for crumbs. They want to keep you in a slave mentality because this is the only thing that is revealed when people have to strike, when people have to literally take money out of the city itself. Millions of dollars have to be missed before, like, okay, but before something is done. People literally have to be on their fucking ass, barely able to pay their rent, getting kicked out of their homes in order for shit to change. But it's designed that way. This happens every time. People got to be on the brink of destruction for them to even move. And when they do move, they move at a very slow pace. Meaning this is not going to be money that people are going to receive tomorrow. They may receive this money later on down the line. So there is no immediate solution to this unless they decide to just give the people the money. But the fact that it got this far tells me that that's not the case. Also, the governor has not made any comment. The governor of California has not made any comment. He actually has no intention of even getting involved. So that also lets you know how much they care about it. The governor has not even spoken about it and has no plans to speak about it. So the whole city of Los Angeles is about to shut down all the schools, and the governor has nothing to say about it. Which just goes to show, and they actually reelected this governor. Remember, he was actually the governor was getting recalled at one point in time, and then they basically kept him in office. So I can't really blame the system when the people put these people in power, and then they reelected the man. So the same man that got recalled, or they tried to recall him, and they actually kept him in power. This is the same man that has nothing to say, right? Gavin Newsom, that's his name, right? Has nothing to say about this. It's just about to let this shit ride. The city just going to lose millions of dollars, and people just going to go back to their misery. They're not going to get their money. They're going to stay at minimum wage, and People just are just going to suck it up, or at least that's what they are hoping what will happen. But just the fact that that's how they're treating the people in the first place just lets you know, like, oh, this is what California is really about. California isn't this beautiful place that it pretends to be. That on the surface it appears to be beautiful, but California is the ultimate deception. You would never think a place like Los Angeles, which is a very beautiful place, is gangland. It's a home of gangland, 50,000 gang members. You wouldn't believe that because of how beautiful and how nice it is, but appearances can be very deceiving. We also have the arrest of Trump. For those who don't know, apparently Trump stated on Truth Social, which is his social media site, that he could potentially be arrested as early as Tuesday, which is today, because it's after 12 o'clock, right? And this is based off of Stormy Daniels, which is a porn star. She basically said she hooked up with Donald Trump back in 2006, right? So that's what this is all about. He basically gave her hush money. That's the whole story. He gave this porn star called Stormy Daniels hush money back in 2006. So for whatever reason, it's 2023, and they want to lock this man up for something that happened in 2006, right? This just goes to show the hatred people have for Trump. They are really trying to lock this man up over a goddamn porn star who could have simply just not took his money at all. Because again, they're talking about hush money. He gave her hush money. But apparently, she kept talking. She's still talking. She's still tweeting. She's using all this energy around her to cloud up, to get that OnlyFans popping. She's just banking off of it. So while she's just becoming more popular, talking shit about it, because again, just riling up people, just saying real disgusting shit about Trump. Stuff that you probably don't even want to read. Just talking like a porn star would talk, right? That's why she's on Twitter. So she ain't talking like that on Instagram or Facebook. You can talk a lot more raunchy on Twitter. But again, all it's doing is increasing her followers, and she's just getting her clout up. She's just banking off of it, and it's like the fact that this is happening in the first place. This occurred over 20 years ago. They're trying to lock this man up for something he did 20 years ago before he was even president. The fact that this matters is ridiculous. Because I can understand if he did it when he was president, but we're talking about before he was even president, before he was even into politics. So really, at the time, if he wanted to pay a porn star for sexual activity, like why not? Was before he was in politics. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. He didn't break any laws. So the fact that they have to go back 20 years in the past, almost 20 years in the past, to try to lock him up. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so, because there's a stipulation here. See, the stipulation is they're trying to figure out how they're going to go about it, because the stipulation is president, every living president has to be protected by the Secret Service 24/7. So they're in a situation where they never had a president, be locked up. So they're trying to figure out, well, by law, a president, whether past or current, has to be protected by Secret Service 24/7. That is by law. So they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how are we going to navigate this? He is a president. It's written in law that a president must be protected by Secret Service. It doesn't matter what he's doing or what he isn't doing. So they're trying to figure out, how to navigate around that as well. Right. So that again, this has been a talk for the past couple of days, right? What's going to happen? Is Trump going to get arrested? Is this going to get him more followers? Is this going to get people riled up even more? Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they're about to He's not about to be convicted over something he did 20 years ago. They've been trying to get him for tax evasion. They tried to get him for January 6th. They've been trying to get Trump for it. Anything they can get him for. So the fact that they're trying to get him over a porn star before he was even in politics, the fact that they're moving in that direction just shows how desperate they are to get him off of the ballot so that he doesn't become president again. I say if this does happen, would this make him more popular? Yeah, we would love to see Trump in jail. Not because we hate him, just like, oh, that's just gonna make him a bigger OG, right? Like damn, they actually locked his ass up over a porn star. Like people were like, that's just again, we're talking about someone who can harness negative energy. See, when negative things happen to certain people, it doesn't have the same effect as it would be a normal person. So you can say the average person don't even want to be caught up or entangled with a porn star at all. They don't want no associations, with a porn star and lawsuits and all that. So the fact that they're trying to lock Trump up basically over some pussy is flattering to people. People are flattered by that. Like you really about to lock him up because he just got some ass 20 years ago when he was able to do it. Now you could say like, okay, whether he was, if it was infidelity on his part, if he was married at the time, but that's a personal discussion. He didn't necessarily do anything wrong publicly because he was not a politician. So you see, this Tuesday, there's a lot going on. So the question is why? Well, I looked at the astrology chart, and the Moon and Jupiter currently have a contra parallel in effect. We understand the Moon represents the public. The Moon can also represent women. And then we have Jupiter, which represents politicians and also famous people. So the fact that a woman is accusing a famous person, aka a politician, of wrongdoing, this goes directly into the aspect of the Moon and Jupiter having a contra parallel. A contra parallel means energies that are outside of your control, right? So of course Trump doesn't control whether he goes to jail or not. It's out of his control. However, if they are successful, this will increase his odds of becoming the president. This is what I mean by people truly don't understand Trump. They won't understand Trump. They don't understand. It's not even about who he is as a person. See, people don't like who he is as a person, but they don't never give the real reason why they don't like him. Trump has been prophesized. This is what people don't realize. Trump is not a normal human being. Normal human beings can't do what Trump did. Who you don't have no experience in politics. You have never been a politician, but somehow you become the president of the United States. That's not something that anybody else could have done. This has been prophesized beforehand. This is prophecy planned out. Remember, I've been told y'all Trump is an Egyptian deity. I've been saying this, right? So I'm not saying anything new here. If you've been following me, you know I've been said that before. But we're going to see it really manifest now. See, again, people basically said his presidency was a fluke. He wasn't supposed to be elected, it was a fluke. But you can't say that if he does it again, if he becomes president again, right? It wasn't a fluke because it happened 2 times. So they're doing everything in their power to stop it from happening again. But again, they don't realize that they're dealing with an Egyptian or a Kemetic energy that they truly don't understand. You can say Trump is more American than the average American because of the energy he represents. Remember, his family is connected to Tesla, Nikola Tesla. They are connected with advanced technology. Remember, they say his son, Barron Trump, is from a different dimension. It's like this. There's a lot of talk that people aren't even talking about anymore, or I guess maybe it's not even on YouTube. You got to go to these conspiracy sites to even get the real jewels about this. They don't even allow this on YouTube. All right, you got to go to alternative sites to even get that. So they don't like, meaning the hate for Trump isn't because this is just another human being who just has a different opinion. That's what they want you to believe, but that's not the case. They know exactly who Trump is. That's why Trump has the hate he has, because they know exactly who he really is. The public doesn't know, but the Democrats know. His enemies know exactly who he is. That's why they will stop at nothing until he is put to rest, because they truly know who he is. That's why again he like they've been trying to get him on any and everything. We have not seen nobody get attacked as much as he was attacked. Not in modern society. In modern times, there is no person who is more hated than Trump, who has been attacked more than Trump. He is the most hated person on the face of the planet right now. But he's also the most loved for the people that do love him. But who do love him, he's the most loved and the most hated simultaneously. All right, because they know who he is. That's why he has a loyal fan base. But then you have people that literally hate his guts, right? But they don't know why they hate him, because all the Democrats do is get them riled up, get the people riled up. So it's coming from the Democrats. It's coming from the news media outlets, right? This hate for Trump. If it wasn't in the news, if it wasn't for the Democrats, the people wouldn't even know. Again, the people are controlled by the media. So when the media is putting out false information, of course the people will believe it. So the question is, why is all this happening on Tuesday? What's so special about March 21st? Right? All this shit is supposed to be going down March 21st. We just entered into the spring, right? As soon as we get in the spring, why is all these things occurring? Fucking schools are getting shut down. They're trying to lock Trump up. Why is everything going into basically like the caves? Why does it seem like we're going into like a dark period or a Gotham City like period, right? Everybody's talking about what's going on with Ukraine, and how it's becoming darker and darker and darker. And again, inflation and all that. So again, everybody's on this doomsday time, right? Everybody's waiting for the day of judgment, right? Everybody's waiting for the day of judgment, which, if you follow the Thoth tarot, it represents the aeon going transitioning from one aeon to another, and that's what's really occurring. We are transitioning from one aeon to another. So that's why, again, the Bible only takes you up to the book of Revelation. They can only take you up to the last days. That's why everybody talks about the last days, because that's as far as you go in the holy books. They never talk about what happens after the fact, what happens in the new aeon, right? World is a stage. What's up, shot? World is a stage, exactly. But we don't view it that way, do we? Right? Most people are misled, easily misled. We know about the 85%, right? Majority of the people are the 85%, you know? Poison animal eaters, they don't know their origin in this world. Easily led in the wrong direction, hard to lead in the right direction. We know the lesson. So that's all they're gonna be, right? They're just gonna listen to the powers that be, and they're just gonna take their word for it. So again, what is it? Why is all this occurring soon as we enter into spring? Soon as the sun transition into Aries, now all of a sudden people are taking these new initiatives again. People are going on strike. People are trying to get Trump locked up. What is it about this new spring energy that just got everybody in their feelings, right? Again, so I talked about the aspect. It is the moon and Jupiter having a contra parallel with each other, which this is energy outside of our control. So if we're talking about something outside of our control, who is in control of it? Well, who isn't? If it's out of our control, then who is in control of it? Well, as I said, Trump has been prophesized, right? The orange man, this has already been prophesized. That's why, like Trump is like a living deity. We can't deny this shit. You may not like it, but he's a walking, living deity. He's beyond a legend. He is a deity, meaning he will be turned into a saint when he dies. That's just how much people will love Trump. There are people that pray to Trump right now. There's videos on YouTube of people praying to Trump as a deity, as a saint, which he will be made into when he passes. They will make him into a saint. He will be the modern day Jesus who has been crucified more than Trump. Nobody, right? They will turn him into a saint. Mark my words. You don't got to believe me now, but you will see when it occurs. He will become a saint. Saint Trump, Pope Trump, because he got his family coming up after him. So once he's out of the picture again, he got his sons. He got Barron, right? That's what people are really talking about. Barron, like Barron is gonna be the one who's gonna really carry on a legacy. It's not really gonna be Donald Trump Jr. It's gonna be Barron. But again, that's neither here nor there. We're about to go too deep into the mysteries. I'm just pointing out, like, soon as the sun is transitioning to Aries, now all of a sudden these new initiatives are occurring where they're trying to take energies off of the board. They're trying to take Trump off of the board, and going back to the LA school system, the greed runs so deep that they're willing to lose millions of dollars a day because they refuse to pay the teachers and the bus drivers, all of the essential workers that make the system work. They don't want to pay these people. They rather keep these people on minimum wage, fighting each other, being in competition. Again, it keeps us in an animalistic state when we feel like all we have available is crumbs. And we gotta fight with the little crumbs we have. It just keeps us, again, like cattle. It keeps us like sheep, which is where they want you. They don't want you to be empowered because that's less power for them. That's less money for them. So this is how they work. So they would rather nobody get the money than giving the money to the teachers. That's basically what's happening. So like they're basically saying right in our face, we would rather lose millions of dollars a day. We don't give a fuck how these kids eat. We don't give a fuck where these kids go. So they don't care how the parents get to work. They're saying we would rather does the money not be made than the money be given to the people that actually deserve it. That's the mentality and that's the direction that they are taking. Well, we're not going to give you the money, so the money just ain't going to be made. Fuck it, we just going to miss millions of dollars. We don't need it. That's their mentality. Oh, well, shit, we can survive off that. So they literally saying, fuck all of your children. Fuck all of your children. Fuck the bus drivers. Fuck the teachers, the cafeteria workers, everybody who is involved to make that system work. They basically saying fuck all of y'all. Just fuck. We just gonna miss the money. That's the type of mentality that will destroy. I'm not gonna say it's gonna destroy the country. This is the old Aeon going into the new Aeon. In the new Aeon, that type of energy has no place. In the new Aeon, you can say people would prefer to homeschool their children or go to, you can say, private schools, put their children in private schools. The new Aeon will be a complete recalibration of the school system because clearly it is corrupt. This is how we get to the places. Clearly, this is so corrupt that the money is going somewhere. Remember, these schools are generating millions of dollars. I mean, again, we're talking about colleges, UCLA, USC, Berkeley. We're talking about colleges here. Everybody got to pay tuition and shit. They're generating ridiculous amounts of money. It doesn't make any sense. So the fact that the school system generates, or the educational system generates ridiculous amounts of money and refuse to put it in the hands of the very people that keep the system running just goes to show you that the school system is controlled not by the teachers. It's controlled by an independent entity, which really does not give a fuck about the students at all because they're about to stop children from eating and getting educated for 3 days. But they don't realize the spiral that it will happen because of this. They're just thinking, okay, it's gonna be 3 days, and people are just gonna come back on Friday, I guess. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, people are just gonna come back to work on Friday. It's not gonna work out like that. It's not gonna be that easy. But again, these people are so arrogant. They think they understand human nature until something spontaneous happens, something that you were not able to foresee. You thinking, okay, there's gonna be 2, 3 million. What if that 2, 3 million turn to 10 million, turn to 20 million, turn to 30 million? Now it's becoming a major fucking problem. What if people decide to keep their children out of school? What if half of those students refuse to return to school? We ain't putting our children in school. What if that happens? Or we're going to homeschool. See, they're not prepared for people to actually do for self and take power into their own hands. They're not prepared for that. That's why they treat us like little imbeciles. We can do whatever we want with you. We're going to pay you whatever we want to pay you and shut the fuck up and listen and just do your job. The only solution to that is you better do your damn job or you better do for self. The only solution is doing for self. The same thing our elders and our ancestors been telling us the entire time. But what do? We keep depending on the system like the system is going to change. Like the system is not going to be racist. And it is because the majority of these students that are affected are the black and the brown students. This is not happening in places where that are more affluent, regular, right? The affluent places, this is not happening. They don't have this issue. This is happening to the low income homes, to the people that are impoverished, to the people that they say they don't care about, to the people that they feel is going to be the future prisoners, the future blue collar workers. So they really don't care. They're like, okay, so what? You're going to be an essential worker. This is how they're already studying the entire trajectory of the students. So they already have the ones, okay, that these people going to go to jail. They already know ahead of time because they do statistics, right? So they already got it lined up how many beds they're going to need for the jails, how many essential jobs they're going to need because they know that these slots are going to be filled. Again, they got the whole system down to a science. That's why they depend on us to react emotionally because we're not thinking of this as a science. We don't realize that they got this broken down to a science. We don't realize that. So any move that we make on the chessboard, they already have a reaction for it because they have already planned all the way out to the end. It's us that's doing reactionary things, right? 1 second. So this is what it is. What's going to happen is the system is going to have a very rude awakening because they are underestimating the power of the people. We just refuse to bow down. And when people can't pay their bills, now they have nowhere to send their children. This is not going to end well because we evolve. So you can study humans all you want, but it's hard to predict when evolution takes place. What do I mean? The same thing that happened with George Floyd, for example. They didn't know that the whole world was going to be marching. Maybe a couple little places. They didn't expect people all the way in Asia to be marching for George Floyd, to be protesting for George Floyd. They didn't expect that. Like his influence extended all the way to Asia. That's why they made him a saint. He became Saint George. He was George Floyd the human. He became Saint George. He became a martyr, right? He became a martyr. The same thing is going to happen to Trump. Say he will be sanctified. He will be viewed as a martyr. Look at all the things they did to him. Is this going to happen, right? And these same kids that are being neglected, these same kids, they're not going to forget. They're not going to forget how corrupt this system is or how corrupt this system was. Just imagine if people like me were in positions of real power. People who like, yo, we know exactly what the fuck you are doing and what you have been doing, and we're not going to allow it to happen any longer. It's inevitable. All they're doing is putting pain in the hearts of these children and making these children demonic, satanic, and ready to destroy and kill. So that's why we lash out and we kill each other because of the pressure that we're put under. We're coming from impoverished places, so you got to get out here in the streets and make money in a different way, which is how we get caught up in the system, and it just becomes this cycle, this cycle, this cycle, this never-ending cycle. So that's what they're thinking. There's going to be more kids, to fill up the jail cells, not realizing that some of these children will become politicians. They're going to be the leaders of these movements that are corrupt. So, looking at it from a long term perspective, and I'll end with this. Looking at this from a long term perspective, this is exactly what needs to happen. The pain that we will endure, or I guess those in Los Angeles, right? The pain that they will endure will come back and bite the city in the ass in a way that they are simply not prepared to handle. And I suggest you watch and you see for yourself, right? As long as we stay balanced and we know that there's a reason behind all this. There's a reason why California it seems like it's eating itself from inside. Why do you think that is? Like I say, all the way from the north, all the way to the south, it just seems like it's just eating itself from within. Because that's just how deep the corruption goes. Again, we see, and if you ever been to LA, you know how deep the corruption goes. You look at the homeless population. California has the largest homeless population in the country. They have over 100,000 people that's homeless. That's again the largest in the country. It's not a mistake. It's not by coincidence. So if you ever been to LA, you ever been to San Francisco, then you know that the homeless are everywhere. You can't not see them. But everybody just ignores them like they don't see it. It's just normal to the people that's there. Like, oh, just home. It's just normal. It's like it's just they normalize it. They just walk right past, drive right past. Like it is what it is, right? But it's just so many that you can't ignore them. So California has been creating these zombies. This is becoming like a zombie land, right? And for whatever reason, they're just painting this veil over our eyes like we're not supposed to see what's going on. So California been eating itself from within for a very long time because we just see what it's doing to its people. It's turning its people into absolute savages. Eventually they're gonna lose control because they truly don't care anyway. So it's gonna be like a Resident Evil type energy, right? Exactly. It's going to be a Resident Evil type energy. We got to go through an apocalyptic hit in order for things to change. So the only thing that's going to allow it to change, either it get hits with a nuke, California has to get hit by a nuke, or it will be eaten from within, meaning only California can transform California. And that's exactly what will happen. It will come from the internal chambers that will allow the rebirth of these dead energies. Remember, the root chakra of the planet is in California, and this is the last point, right? The root chakra of the planet is an active volcano, right? So it's no coincidence that California has the largest homeless population, and it just so happened to be the root chakra of the planet. There's no coincidence there. Cali is the root chakra of the planet. So I'll let you contemplate how that fits into all this. Because your root chakra is supposed to be your foundation. That's supposed to be your home. So if California has the largest homeless population, and California is supposed to be the root chakra, aka the home of the planet, but we see nothing but homelessness, then that lets you know, oh, there's clearly a virus here that's corrupting the people. And eventually, they will have to deal with the T virus. 93. Love is the law, love under will.